game plan was great.
The players.
I would want him to be a runner like Mahomes.
The plays.
That is a massive, massive mistake.
And each
The more
other.
I think about it, the more I'm fine.
Zolak and Bertrand, the Sports Hub.
I never took what Jalen said about enjoying this season the wrong way. I felt that he was not talking about, like, getting free of Jason Tatum or whatever. It can be a refreshing year and not be him saying, boy, do I want out of here. But I think, in general, the Celtics are at an interesting point where they have to evaluate their roster and decide, is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum together earning $600 million on their contract the way to go forward in the league, in the Apron era, to have everything tied up in two players that are so similar? Not because one guy wants his own team, not because one guy wants out of there, not because one guy wants extra accolades and extra shots. From a basketball team-building strategic standpoint in 2026 NBA, does that make sense? This is what the Celtics, I think, have to analyze.
All right, back here, Zolak and Bertrand. That was Brian Windhorst of ESPN. Speaking on the Jays, do you have a thought on the Jays, Andrew?
Of course. Jaylen Brown, second team All-NBA, announced last night. About as expected, runner-up basically for first team All-NBA. This is the peak of his career. Statistically, in terms of crunch time, everything that we saw, if you opened your brain for a second, you understood why this was his favorite season, as he said on Twitch, granted controversially. But to me, I have to, if I'm Brad Stevens, canvass the league, which every GM does all the time, but really examine what his value is now. Because I think whether this is the peak of his value in recent years, it certainly is moving forward. Coming off of that season, showing what he could do was something we had never seen from him before, which is be a number one option for a 56-win team. We know how the playoffs went, and that is not to be overlooked, and frankly, matters more than the 56 wins they had in the playoffs. I am open to trading Jaylen Brown. I don't love the Giannis deal, trading up in age, even though Giannis is a better player, and I think the rest of the league would show you that there are injury concerns in addition to salary, et cetera, et cetera. But look, if there's something that I believe gives me a deal, forget the flexibility and optionality and everything that people in the league love to talk about, give me better pieces that fit around Jason Tatum and choose a path around him, I'm really going to consider it, because as Windhorst laid out, two giant salaries like this limit your ability to move forward and improve the roster in a meaningful way.
I am in no way favor of trading Jaylen Brown. I think there is no way you'll get better or end up better without him. I understand, and I think Windhorst was alluding to the, talking about how they play, the play style. Do they complement each other well enough? They're two dynamic players, all NBA caliber guys, obviously. I'm not doing it. I just don't think you'll end up better in any. I don't know what you would get back. I don't know how you could do better than having a guy in his prime making the All-NBA team, the All-NBA second team. A lot of people thought he'd be a first-team guy or an MVP type of player, which he competed for the award for most of the season. I'm not doing it. I just don't think you're going to find somebody better, and I know it's not perfect. I know there are flaws. I just think by the time you figured it out and got somebody that could play alongside Jason Tatum and be a better fit and get them up and running, Tatum's window would be just about closed, and I think it would run out on you.
So the hard part about this conversation is that you end up diminishing something significant in one way or another. Either it's Jaylen Brown as a player, who the NBA just told you is a top 10 player in the league. Let's call it 12 to 15, okay? Or you diminish by zooming out and going, okay, what you're suggesting then, Mark, is to run it back. For a franchise, and you listen to Brad Stevens, doesn't seem inclined to run it back, that has disappointed in the playoffs in a meaningful, painful way 3 of the last 4 years around a title. And that's the part I'm diminishing here too. Title, they got it. That's the whole point of everything that they're doing. I don't think you can afford to do that. There is a way, though, to keep them together and not necessarily run it back. But then the player you're discussing trading is someone I think a lot of folks listening would be reluctant to deal or even entertain. And his value, unlike Jaylen Brown's, is probably at a low point in the last 12 months, and that's Derrick White. So would you be open to trading Derrick White? Because if not, what you're saying is a team that lost in the first round to the freaking Philadelphia 76ers, who went in, puked on themselves, and got swept off the floor by Knicks fans and the Knicks in their own building in the second round. And then before that, lost to the Knicks. And 2 years before that, lost to the Heat, an 8 seed in the Eastern Conference Finals. You're good with that team moving forward as currently constituted.
I love Derrick White, but I would absolutely be open to trading him because I think you'd have a much better chance of getting back adequate value for Derrick White than Jaylen Brown. I don't think you're going to do it for Jaylen Brown. He's too good.
So I said I'm out on a Giannis trade, and I cited Giannis's regular season availability on TV on Friday, and the bigger point is his availability in the postseason or lack thereof. Because I'm not trading, as we talked about, a guy who just made his second team All NBA for someone who is not going to be available in May and June, and that's what you look at Giannis's history. He's 31. He's got more miles on that. This guy was in the 2013 draft. Giannis was drafted weeks after I graduated college.
It's a long time ago.
Okay? If I can't count on that guy to be available, I'm not trading. But would you do that? That's my reasoning. Because Giannis is a better player than Jalen. You're saying it's a hard time figuring out.
I wouldn't do it.
Finding a better player than Jalen Brown if you're going to trade.
Not Giannis. The only thing that would make me think about it is if you told me the Celtics were going to come off of the 3-point shooting, that whole philosophy and culture.
I mean, if you bring Giannis in, you're not having him shoot threes.
Right. So
he is rampaging to the rim.
But I just don't think his game, the way he plays, will last. I don't think it's not going to be a game that ages well, and that would worry me. So I don't think, and he's been not irrelevant, but he hasn't been the same the last few years. Injury concerns, all the above. I'm not doing it. I would think about it for a second. I wouldn't do it. Paulie's in the truck. Hey, Paulie.
Very tempting, though, isn't it?
It is.
I don't like his gait. He really stomps his body. His lower extremities take a real beating when he goes to the hoop, man. But he plays hard. That's not what I call to talk about. Cal, what was your stance on A.J. Brown?
Trade for him. I'm looking forward to inviting him here
and picking him up at the airport.
Would you give one for him?
A first? No.
Okay. Well, we're all on the same page there. First, I want to talk about that. Then I got 3 songs for you guys, but I'll make it quick. You don't give him one for A.J. Brown. No way in hell. Howie Roseman would rob you blind. He'd steal the eyes out of your head and rob you blind. This guy's worth. This year's 2 would have been worth it. And you throw him booty, But I would give him a 3 next year because a bump at the clock because it's worth a 2. Like say from this year, last year's 3. Next year's 3 is going to be worth this year's 2. I just wouldn't do it. If you're taking a 1, you're expecting somewhere between 5 to 7 to 10 years out of a 1. You're only going to get maybe 2 or 3 out of this guy. He's on the back half of the back 9. There's no way. But now I'm on the 3 songs. Okay.
Yep.
Number 1, the king of the deceased. Who he was the title holder, the king of rock and roll when he passed away. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Tom Petty's Wildflowers, number 1. Number 2, the Godfather of Southern rock, Greg Allman, the Allman Brothers, Revival. Number 3, to get the party going, I was drunk on Sunday, wanna feel like I'm at home. My Boys, the Black Crowes, Jealous Again, get it going. Those 3 songs. First 3 songs you play at the party.
Wow.
All right, next time he calls, he's got to be Paulie in the pool.
Yeah. I mean, these songs are a little bit outside of my wheelhouse, but
dated, yeah, sure.
That's fine. Let's go Joe in Providence, who wants to talk about it. Hey, Joe.
What's up, boys? My song by the pool would be DMX, Rough Riders Anthem.
Joe! Great track. It's a good one. I don't know how that hits at the pool. George? You feeling that one at the pool?
I'd do it. I'd rock with it.
I could do that. I could get down with that.
Get a cannonball contest and have that blaring. There we go.
Yeah, that would work for me. Let's get another one quick. Constantine is in Danvers. Hey, Constantine.
Hi, guys. I would just like to say the trade for Booty, the first round picks that the guys were just talking about with A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
So I think if we trade Booty for A.J. Brown, that wouldn't be a fair trade. Because if Booty isn't as good as A.J. Brown, so I don't think we should trade him. So what else would we have to, what do you guys think we would have to trade?
Well, if they gave up Booty, they'd have to give up a significant pick. And I wouldn't do the 1. I think it'd be good for Philadelphia, though, to get a higher pick and Booty. That wouldn't be a bad, especially with it looks like Brown is out on playing for the Eagles. What's wrong with a 2 and Booty?
It's the last year of Keyshawn Booty's contract. He's never had, I think, 500 yards in a season. It might be 600. But thanks for the call. And secondly, I'd say a third or a fourth in there.
Okay.
Actually, take that back. It's going to be about a second, I think, in there. Like you're not giving up more than a fifth or a sixth for Kayshon Boutte, I think, at this point in his career.
Okay. I just think it needs to happen. I mean, they need to just do it, have it happen, and then we can move on with the actual analysis of the team and the roster where he's on it.
Those moves also might be independent of one another.
Is there a consequence? Can I just ask? I'm sorry, Andrew, to cut you off. Is there a consequence if it doesn't happen?
Yeah, people are pissed, and they're pissed behind these microphones. And
I mean, I feel like but based on that, it could impact the energy there. If it does, I think people have kind of banked on him coming, and if he doesn't,
well, look, there would have to be some relationship repair, probably with Kayshon Boutte, who they would then be interested in keeping because he's your starting X or at least competing for the starting X spot. That also might be due to an extension. I don't really know. Not reporting. Okay. Point is, they just came off the Super Bowl. Like, guys in that building are literally in a new facility. They're with Drake May. Put the Vrabel stuff to the side. Like, they think highly of themselves to overcome, we didn't need A.J. Brown. They would then argue in all the questions that we would ask at OTAs, it actually is bringing us closer together. It's a good thing that we didn't add this all-pro receiver. Like, okay. But ultimately, I don't think it's a negative.
All right, trade
Wouldn't
talk.
drag them down.
Patriots, Celtics, NBA playoffs, finals, all on the board. 617-779-0985. Mark Dondero, Andrew Callahan, Zolak, and Bertrand. The Sports Hub.
We're back with more Zolak and Bertrand.
I mean, those are the things I'm working on with third graders.
On the Sports Hub.
I think Giannis wants to go to Boston, and I'm not sure Boston wants Giannis. And I think that's the push and pull right now.
What makes you think he wants to go to Boston?
I just think he does.
Aggregate it?
I don't care.
There's your social clip. There's your aggregated blog post. Let's just run with it.
I think he wants to stay in the East, and I think a certain guy in the Celtics has the same shooting coach as him. And I think there's a lot of respect for the organization, and I just think that would be a team he would be interested in. But I also think Miami is another team he'd want to go to.
Yeah.
And by the way, the league's more fun if he goes to Miami. The league's more fun if Jalen and Jason stay together next year.
Sure.
Giannis goes to Miami with Bam, and they just kind of figure it out, heat culture style, and just salvage random guys from around the league, like the Davion Mitchell types, and all of a sudden they're scary.
That was Bill Simmons on his podcast talking about the potential Giannis trade. I just think that model is done. I don't think it works in the NBA anymore. Going out and acquiring this big name star, this aging star, I just don't think it works, and I don't want the Celtics to do it. I would understand why Giannis would want to come to Boston. I don't think the Celtics should do it. I think they should roll with Brown and Tatum and change their philosophy and then try to spend again. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think now, obviously, OKC and the Spurs have benefited from the draft and prosperous draft after draft after draft. I think the Cavs and the Knicks are two, if not the two highest spending teams in the NBA. And that's what you're going to have to be. Because if you want to stick with those guys, Brown, Tatum, you need a roster. I love the Knicks roster. Don't like the Knicks, but I love their roster. Guys like Bridges, Anunoby, Josh Hart. Those are guys that win in the playoffs. Tough, big, long, athletic, make shots, defend. Those are the types of guys. Even Cleveland, not as good. But they've got Mobley, and they've got Allen, and they've got Max Strus, who's been around the block and has some size and can hit shots and has played in the playoffs. That's the type of roster you did not have. So I don't think the Giannis deal is going to do it. I think he'll break down, and then it's just Tatum and a broken down Giannis, and I don't know what else. So that I don't like it.
Yeah, it's tough because the Cavs are in the second apron, the Knicks are just below the second apron, and they've won in the model you don't like Jalen Brunson. They stole in free agency.
Right.
You make big deals to pay for a guy like Cat, whose contract, honestly, as well as Karl Anthony Towns has played, and particularly as kind of this passing hub of the offense, and they've called him Cat like the control tower over there for the Knicks, who are freaking rolling. It's a big, expensive player. The thing is for the Celtics is all of the goodwill, or most of it around the title, I think is kind of petered out. And it's because of the spending that they had to cut back for real basketball penalty reasons. Here's the thing. That year's over. Whether it was a gap year, or reset year, or a surprise regular season that ended poorly, call it whatever you want. It is now time to press on in the same way that you would have had you not needed to shed salary and reset your books as they did following the end of the Horford, Drew Holiday, Porzingis era. It is time to reload. The issue then is the biggest, best piece available is someone that everyone around the league has some concerns about, age, injury history, as good as he is, and he's better than Jaylen Brown, but he's older. There are fit issues. There's some unknown, even some sort of like, okay, who has the ball at the end? Are we sure it's Tatum? Are we sure?
I'm not sure. I think Jaylen Brown's better.
Well, I mean, with Giannis on the team, because I think Jaylen.
Oh, with Giannis? No, I don't. Is he a closer? Has Giannis ever been a closer in his time with
he's hit some game winners, but the point is, I just think for this team, you are then betting and shortening your window at a time when everyone is looking at this West Finals and going, "Oh my God, OKC and the Spurs are going to be here forever." So it's a short-term boost to their title odds, I think, at the expense of or some real risk here with the injury piece, to be honest. Who's better? It's super tempting. I can't get around to do it. If you want to change your play style, I think you can do it. Like your point about that, I think we can separate the Giannis conversation from don't be afraid to miss at the rim, even though Joe Mazzulla sees that as an easy pass for opponents to get out and transition, something the Celtics have worked so hard for so long to stop because it's just low-hanging fruit and easy offense. And they don't allow that, but instead they take long shots and miss more of them.
I'm also concerned, this might sound ridiculous, but I am also concerned if the Celtics masquerade or appear to the masses that they are not willing to do what it takes financially to make the roster to the level of what it needs to be in order to compete for a championship. I worry because of the Red Sox and how sensitive people have become to that situation, understandably, that will really exacerbate the negativity around the Celtics and not do them any favors. And then they'll start to hear those things and those thoughts and that narrative. And if they don't change, because I just think they're going to have to get players. And if you need the 2-star, I mean, the Cavs have, how many stars do the Cavs have? 1.5? Mobley sort of is. I mean, he was Defensive Player of the Year. He's been an All-Star.
I couldn't put him in that conversation.
Okay, so you have Donovan Mitchell, and they're about to get swept. Yeah. So they've got an All-Star. They've got Allen, who's been an All-Star once. They've got Strus and some guys that have been in the playoffs. Obviously, James Harden is what he is. And you've got Donovan Mitchell, and you're about to get swept. So you're not close. And they've got a star with a bunch of quality pieces. What are you going to do? It takes a lot to get on that level. And you've got Tatum and Brown, awesome. But you've got to really, and I think trading Derrick White would be more, if you do it right, and I trust Brad, I think they'd have a better chance doing that and then changing their philosophy. That's what I think the best avenue would be for the Celtics.
So Derrick White's going to be 32 in July. Derrick White's shooting, obviously, particularly from three, he was below 33%, and it was a real drag on their offense for stretches and in the playoffs because when he's not a sharpshooter, it completely changes the, frankly, geometry and some of the gravity when you're designing defenses against the Celtics, what you want to inhibit and what you want to encourage. If you're letting Derrick White just shoot away, then that clogs up lanes and allows you to pay attention to other players. This, to me, is not quite like the emotional attachment that I think Brad had to overcome with the Marcus Smart trade, which was obviously a good one. But I do wonder if this is the right time to trade Derrick White because everyone's looking at the reason why they might do that. But let's say it happens and you get a decent return. What do you want for him? What are you going to get?
I want a big.
You want a big?
Yeah.
Like who?
Derek Lively. I don't know what his injury situation was. He didn't really play this year. But if you could, I mean, he was a guy that he was like the third best player on the Mavs in their year they went to the finals. He was up and coming. He made some plays. He's 7 feet, younger side of his career, obviously. A guy like that, without knowing everything about Mavericks basketball. Player like that.
Let me tell you a little about Mavericks basketball.
Yeah.
Daniel Gafford's someone that's been floated.
Okay.
Their other center.
Yeah.
As potentially being on the trade block. More towards the Lakers for obvious reasons, to go pair with Luka again. But Lively, as a recent draft pick for the ceilings that you mentioned, even though there's an injury history, I don't think he's probably going anywhere. Daniel Gafford, though, would you put him a top 10 center in the league?
I don't know how many real centers there are.
Because I think there's something to be said for the way that Keita played, as much as there were issues in the playoffs. Like, kind of proves you can get by without an elite center.
Yeah.
So to me, I think you're looking more at those wings, if not for another guard. But then there's a little bit of redundancy. Who am I going to give up to get? Who am I going to get for Derrick White, who also might be a guard? who's a better shooter and probably not as good defensively. Like that it's a similar issue is my point that you run into, okay, who can I get that is as good as Jaylen Brown? Well, you're probably doing the trade that's $1 for 4 quarters or for 2 50-cent pieces. With Derrick White, like the things you're going to be asking for are things that you thought you had in him but might be gone. So who is taking on a potentially hollowed out version of Derrick White, and then who's giving up the things that you want in him?
You have to evaluate also, where is Jordan Walsh? Where is Baylor Shireman? Are they real pieces that are going to be able to contribute? Because that's what the Knicks, the Cavs, that's what those teams have. You didn't. You don't have. Jordan Walsh is still an up-and-comer. Baylor Shireman hasn't arrived. They are not going to be able to compete with Bridges and Anunoby and, I mean, even against the Cavs. I mean, the Sixers, we saw it. George and, some of that. They had other pieces that were able to really kind of take it to you. And by the end of the series, you're almost thinking, geez, this Philly roster might be better than the Celtics. Even though I know George probably just caught lightning in a bottle there for a minute and it looked better than it was. But it just felt that way.
Raw talent, probably right. I mean, but age, availability.
Yeah.
I mean, Embiid basically didn't play against the Knicks, and when he did, it wasn't as effective nearly as it was against the Celtics. Maybe he didn't play at all. I'd have to go back and look.
That series even happened.
Yeah, but the point is, like, they're just in a tough spot. I do have confidence, though, based on the last press conference and Brad's comments, or excuse me, actions beforehand. He is not afraid to be aggressive and made clear that he's not happy with the roster. This isn't to blindly believe whatever the Celtics are doing, because history would tell you around that title, they are underachievers, is what they are.
Correct. Yeah. That's a separate conversation, but you're right. Speaking of it, you mentioned press conferences. There's one I want to get to. We're going to do that after the break because this was very disgusting, and we're going to do that after the break. 617-779-0985. Mark Dondero, Andrew Callahan, Zolak and Bertrand, 98.5 The Sports Hub.
I would love dunks.
Zolak.
I got a pillow over my head.
Bertrand.
Doesn't make it normal.
The Sports Hub.
Analytically, I think we've won the I said 3 out of 3. We're 2 out of 3 in the expected. I don't know if you guys follow that. It's an expected score. And we won 2 out of 3. And I know you're looking confused, but I'm not. There is really, if you believe in process and all that, like, man, take that layer. I know I don't throw that on them. I see it for myself. We have this feeling, I have this feeling, then I can go to our analytical table and be like, man, we are, I think last night it was, the expected score was like 1 point or 2. Us shooting way below expected, them shooting way over. I know no one wants to hear that. I think you guys like hearing it. I know, general public, no one wants to hear that. Everyone's outcome based, and, sure, I get that too.
Oh, great job, Georgie. Chinese food makes me sick.
I had Chinese food last night.
Do girls still wear Abercrombie & Fitch as the dad of a 12-year-old?
No, it's out.
It's out.
What was that man talking about? What was he trying to say? What was that man trying to say,
Very
George?
Missoula-esque.
What was he
duality?
Are you
things like
kidding me?
My goodness, expected wins.
You blew a 20-something point lead in the second half of Game 1. You're down 3-0 in the series, about to be eliminated, swept, embarrassed, and you come to the mic and try to tell me, with all the animosity that swirls around analytics, you try to tell me that analytically we actually won 2 of the 3 games? Are you effing out of your mind? How was he not physically abused by somebody in that media scrum? I would have been very upset. I am upset to hear something like that. Now, I would have controlled myself in the media scrum. But to say something like that, AC, or Cal, is that what you go by? Is that what it is? That's what Paulie said. Cal.
AC is more common than Cal.
Okay. How the hell do you make a statement like that and expect humans to not react? How?
So that's, Kenny Atkinson, head coach of the Cavs, who are about to get swept tonight by the Knicks, who are going to dance their way to the finals. And look, the Celtics have been swept up on this in the same way, and I have been resistant to the anti-analytics conversation because I think it gets too broad-brushed Are we talking win probability? Are we talking about GPS tracking? We talk about efficiency. What are the numbers? The numbers he's referring to are really simple. The idea of a shot quality is to say, how open are you and where are you on the floor? How likely is it that you make it? And if you do, how much is that worth? Those two factors lead often to you want to generate as many wide open threes or sometimes threes as possible, okay? Relative to how often do people make it from that spot when they're contested or not. That's what he's talking about. We've generated better looks. Congratulations to the Cavs. You can hang a banner for better looks in the Eastern Conference Finals. You know what the Knicks are going to do? They're going to hang a banner for beating your ass in the Eastern Conference Finals. And this has to be a bridge that the Celtics cross as well. Is like, it's great that you generated all of these good looks on paper. What you need, though, are not just the expected value. Again, how likely is it and what is it worth? Because granted, threes are worth 50% more. It took the NBA way too long, up until 15 years ago with the revolution around the threes. We're like, oh, if we took more threes, that'd probably be a pretty good idea. Yes, it would. Okay? But what you need are more reliable shots in such a small sample, which are at the rim. So the thing is, it's a good thing if you're a Celtics fan to hear Kenny Atkinson cling to that as it's some sort of solace to keep him warm in what will be a very cold night in Cleveland when they get blown out tonight. I argue that there are other issues. They're just not that tough of a team. But the point is, the Celtics, I think, are, or I certainly hope, begin to pivot away from that because winning the shot quality battle is something they've done in every series that they've lost. But where do you get with that? Nowhere. You go home. That doesn't matter as much as winning and losing does.
Kind of the duality of how things work. It's not an either or thing. It's both and.
I would love to know how some of these men who were athletes, I mean, Joe Mazzulla was an athlete, how he became hypnotized and intoxicated by this movement. I mean, what would ever make you think that this is the way to go? Even a guy like Dan Campbell. Why would you ever think that that's how you manage, that's how you think about the sport? Through a mathematical lens and probability over the shot selection. Who cares about the shot selection? What happened to winning and scoring when you need to score?
Well, you care about shot selection because what you want is them to select different shots. And let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Job of a coach is what?
Okay. To lead the team, to win.
And what else? Like, how do they do that?
Managing the roster, motivating players, coming up with scheme to win games so you can outsmart your opponent.
Put them in the best position to win possible.
Yeah.
What is the best position? The one that gives you the best chance, the highest odds to win. And what I'm telling you is this has just gone too far in that literal sense of the highest odds.
Okay.
But that North Star, to steal a horrible term from that horrible season in 2024 in Foxborough, is still true. The idea of I need to give my team the best chance to win. And over time, if we take this many catch and shoot open threes, open shots are good. That's a basketball truth. Okay? Catch and shoot shots are easier to make than off the dribble. That's a basketball truth. But the bottom line is, the truth is you win when you put more points on the board, not a higher percentage of quality shots. And what Kenny Atkinson is saying, oh, well, actually, there's no well, actually. There's just what it is. So I'm with you. It's just a matter of finding a middle ground. And this isn't the common compromise that everyone wants to make when they're doing the anti-analytics. Oh, there's room for both. There's always been room for both. The problem is teams need to stop clinging to the shot quality after the fact. It means nothing if you lose.
Living and dying by the analytics is my problem. I do think they have a place in sports. I think, and I've talked about this many times, I think that the 2004 Red Sox were saved by analytics. I think it saved their season. I think it was an analytically driven move to trade Nomar and bring back Doug Minkiewicz and Orlando Cabrera and whomever else was in there. Those are the two bigger ones.
I know no one wants to hear that.
That was an analytically driven move, and it was perfect. And it gave you what you needed, that extra defensive push, and you had the bats to go along with the defense you were adding, and that got them over the hump. That's the peak of analytics. That's how it's utilized. You don't live and die by it where your entire existence is based off of it, because that has consequences. You could take all the open threes you want, but there's consequences to doing it. You have great looks, but if you become a team that is known for doing that, your identity evolves a certain way and things go for you in ways that maybe in a different situation or a different type of game, playoffs, you're not going to be as much of an advantage, and it matters. It matters.
So, first of all, I just want to laugh at the Kenny Atkinson quote. Like,
how do you think that's something?
Set aside the broader analytics conversation and the seriousness, and this is how you should approach that. That man thought it was a good idea to go up to his media and his fans and be like, "Hey guys, we actually got better shots. So 0-3 is not really 0-3; it's 0-3 with an asterisk." Cool, Kenny. And that quote, honest to God, might, in a very Joe Judge way, who talked himself out of a job and got fired in New York because he just couldn't stop yapping in press conferences, might cost Kenny Atkinson his job. Here's the thing, though, I want to talk about, because you mentioned the Red Sox in 04. This Red Sox team, also more analytically driven than that one. This has been a kick in the nuts type of season. And as I was thinking, watching at home yesterday, them lose in the bottom of the ninth, and Wong get tagged out at home, and everything else that went awry. We've been here before, right?
Yeah.
So my top kick in the nuts seasons in recent Boston sports history. You
Can't
ready?
wait. Yeah.
Let's do it, baby.
All right. We're going to take a break. We're going to get back. We're going to talk to Pats in Franklin. We're going to do a few other things here, but that quote,
so fun.
I just can't believe he actually went public with it. That's something you say at a meeting. 617-779-0985. An internal meeting without cameras. Mark Dondero, Andrew Callahan, 98.5 The Sports Up.
Do you believe in process and all that?
So,
this is what you get when you get the meat package.
And Beetle.
Okay, you can bank on that.
And the games played here.
Stop and start. Attacks the paint. Runs it up and in.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
All right, back here, Zolak and Bertrand. It's been a nut punch of a Red Sox season. We're going to talk about getting kicked in the nuts by games and seasons. But first, we're going to talk to Pat, who's in Franklin. Hey, Pat.
Hey, boys. AC, I didn't know you were a UConn guy. Is that correct? Did I hear this right? Yes?
Yeah, graduated 13, grew up pretty much on campus, went to U.S. Smith High School, so through and through.
So did you live in the jungle or no?
My front year.
Ooh, sounds fun.
The fires with the couches. Dondero, I think you're just like me. You're a sneaky country fan. I've never been to a country concert.
Yep.
I think I need to probably try it. That's number two. Number three, this SGA with the flopping, I can't. Dondero, you played high level baseball. If somebody did that stuff in baseball, there would be a brawl. Like, I can't take it. Anyways, so that's my number 3 point. And number 4, you mentioned Broad Brush. Do you know that Broad Brush is one of the greatest horses in horse racing history?
I didn't know that.
I think I said Broad Brush. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, Broad Brush.
Noted. Look it up.
Thank you. Go get them.
All right, thanks, Pat. Good to hear from you. I am a sneaky country fan. Again, fast country more than anything else. I don't listen to it at, overall. It's not dominating my playlist, but I do like it. And the SGA thing, we didn't get into that. Complete embarrassment. I can't believe they gave him the MVP again. After watching that, and I'm telling you, it's going to affect them. I don't think it's going to affect them enough right now. They'll still probably win the series, even though it could be more of a toss-up based on what happened in Game 4. It's going to affect. That is going to chip away and erode the Thunder culture, because they're going to start to get apprehensive for being known for the team that just flops and foul baits and all that. It's a joke how many times he goes to the floor while shooting.
He was the best player in the league this season. So it's not a joke that he got the MVP. He was the MVP.
I didn't say that.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
no, I said it was a joke how much he flops.
Yeah, and got the MVP again. Which, look, it's not fun to watch. I'm with you there. But point is, that series is so good. I don't remember talking about Spurs Thunder, how much fun I've had watching a non-Boston series like this in a long time. It is just insane next level hoops. And it helps that that's going on, because I cannot stand to watch the Red Sox, who we brought up. Real quick, here are my kick in the nuts seasons that I teased before we came back. 2012, Bobby Valentine. Calling out players. Sox finished 69-93. They blew 42 leads that year, including one 9-run lead. They had 8 walk-off losses. They allowed 20 runs in a game, completely melted down in August. Okay?
Ouch. It's hurting me.
Just bad. And let's be clear, kicking the nuts season is not like this team sucked and it was miserable and it was kind of a slog. Like, that's kind of going on with this season, but just games that you blow like they did yesterday versus the Twins and Saturday versus the Twins. I'll give you 2 recent Patriot ones, and you can tell me which was worse as a fan on the outside.
Yeah.
2022, which really starts in the midpoint of the season. Mac Jones comes back in that Monday night game. Zappy, zappy, zappy. Later, Chandler Jones, scoop and score, stiffing Mac Jones into the turf in Vegas. Stevenson fumbles on Christmas Eve, lose to the Bengals, then lose to the Bills, don't make the playoffs in the finale. Or the following year, the Matt Patricia year, which is more the miserable all season, but the kick in the nuts really started early. Kayshon Boutte's toe was out of bounds in that opener against the Eagles, which had they win might have completely changed the trajectory of the Belichick era. Mike Gesicki, you'll remember week 2, laterals to Cole Strange against the Dolphins in a loss. Cole Strange comes up just shy on 4th down. Patriots lose 0-2. Get housed by the Cowboys by 35. The Saints destroy you and shut you out at home. And then it's a meltdown from there.
I think the one involving Mac Jones was worse, not just because of some of the examples you outlined during the season, the losses and all that, but just the realization that he wasn't what I thought he was. And seeing.
But when did you realize that? Because some people would say end of 22 and some would say beginning of 23.
Well, I mean, just to see during 23 how bad it got and how incompetent he was, you knew you were going really far down. And so that was probably the answer for me.
I'll give you one Celtics one.
Yeah.
Again, these are just recent, not all time, just seasons that you're just like, come on.
Yep.
How about the 2018-19 Celtics? 49-33. They finished 4th in the East that year. That's when they got into the playoffs, and Kyrie said, I got Giannis. We're good. And the whole miserable Kyrie experience obviously left after that year. But just the vibes had been so high when he had been sidelined for the Eastern Conference Finals. They go to Game 7, push LeBron in Cleveland the year before. Tatum and Brown emerging together finally, and it's just a misery from start to finish. And every time they got going, they'd trip up and stumble over themselves. And then at the end, Kyrie was again calling out Giannis one-on-one. And again, a series they lost in 5.
So I'm going to give you one season that really sticks out to me. It's a Red Sox season. I thought 2019. I thought 2019 was a real kick in the pants, real kick in the nuts. Because
is this a crackling fire? Or
no, it's nuts.
They're nuts.
No, they're nuts. Okay,
nuts cracking. That was a huge kick in the nuts to me because they were coming off of the World Series.
Yeah.
And when you look back at it, that season was already over before they even got to Fenway Park. They started that year on the West Coast. Okay, they went 1-2. I mean, they lost basically, what was it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2-8 to start the year. Basically over. They dug a hole before they got to Fenway. Defending champs dug a hole and got that.
See, the part of this is too, it's not like the kick in the nuts is you still have some hope. Like 22, maybe the Patriots make the playoffs. Or 23, maybe Belichick will come back. Or 19, they'll figure it out. They were just there. And instead of Lucy pulling the football out from all of us watching these games, it's Lucy turning around and kicking a square in the nets.
The other one that it's not a season, but one of the biggest kicks in the nuts that I've experienced, even more different than some of the big Super Bowl losses and stuff like that. What happened to the Celtics in 2023, where they went down 0-3 to the Heat?
Yeah, so you're talking playoff ending?
Just the fact that they went down, they lost the first 2 games at the Garden, bad enough. Then they lose the 3rd game in Miami. They go down. Then they battle all the way back. They have an amazing, dramatic shot win in Game 6. Derrick White, the tip in. And then Jason Tatum gets hurt. Brown can't step up. They lose in Game 7. That was a huge, huge kick in the pants. Nuts.
Ice pack for the rest of the offseason.
Damn it. All right. 617-779-0985. More on this when we get back. We'll take your calls. We'll reset some Red Sox thoughts.
Ken Rosenthal said the Sox are not going to be sellers yet.
I have a take your pick that we'll do. Okay, Ken Rosenthal is saying that.
Yeah, I think that was before this series, but 22-30. You got people on the beat calling for the Sox to sell.
Where are you going?
They're reportedly looking to buy. I mean, you got to make a call. I still think you got a couple of weeks here, but
what are you going to buy? Give me a break. You're going to buy. You're going to be buyers. What are you going to buy?
Offense anywhere. Didn't you read the report? I'm just going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to pick up some food. How about that?
My ass.
Doesn't matter. Just food.
Mark Dondero, Andrew Callahan, Zolak and Bertrand, 98.5.